Hi, my name is Giulianna, and welcome to this episode of Dear Lovers. I really want to thank all of you who commented on the last episode. Your comments were very nice and truly supportive, and I appreciate that so very much. Especially at BatMD on YouTube, your comment made me feel good about the show, and I wanted to thank you personally for spreading some love. God bless you. Okay, so let's dive into today's episode. On the Dear Lovers TikTok account, which I highly recommend you check out and follow if you don't already, at DearXOLovers, one of the topics that I speak on often is the damage that hookup culture causes. So the question for this episode is, what does hookup culture have to do with the recent Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe versus Wade? In my mind, it has everything to do with it, and I'll explain myself, but first let's clarify, because there has been a lot of confusion surrounding what this ruling means and what it does. This ruling does not make abortion illegal. It does mean that the power to make it illegal has been given back to each state and each state's government. It doesn't mean a woman's access to a safe abortion is taken away. It means it cannot be used as a form of birth control. And it doesn't mean the medically necessary termination of that baby is taken away if the mother's life is at stake, like an ectopic pregnancy. Which, by the way, no one is saying ectopic pregnancies are viable. In fact, the ectopic procedure is not even considered an abortion. You can find that definition on Planned Parenthood's own website. It does not mean rape victims will lose rights and rapists will have more rights to the child now. And also, please take into consideration that rape and incest accounts for less than 1% of pregnancies, all pregnancies. So what it does mean is that Planned Parenthood will lose federal funding because 98% of their business is from abortions, even though they have been saying for years that abortions were only 3% of their business. Okay, so why do I think that the Roe decision and hookup culture are somehow connected? Hookup culture is all about eliminating the normal relationship building and courtship rituals and cutting directly to what traditionally would happen on the wedding night, the sex, or as Sheldon Cooper calls it, the coitus. No responsibilities, no repercussions, and no consequences. So, if we think about it, who benefits most from that situation? In hookup culture, it's men who want sex without a promise. Women like the promise. In fact, we want the promise. A woman has to make herself valuable to a man because a man who gets what he wants does not see the value in the woman after he's done with her, and because he doesn't have to be committed to her as he would through a marriage. By that logic, he does not have to be committed to the fruit that she produces. Women help men throw a woman's value out the door, and along with it, everyone's dignity. If you think I'm wrong about men being behind the promotion of abortion, then listen to this telling statistic. Since the Roe decision was leaked, appointments by men for vasectomies have gone through the roof. Urologists report a 10-fold increase in scheduled procedures. Can you smell the fear? Because I can. I mean, men are the greatest beneficiaries of the pro-choice movement. Abortion is a process that results in men getting richer. Did you know that more than 74% of abortion physicians are men? Point being, if you're a feminist woman and want to bring down the patriarchy, shouldn't you want to avoid giving your money to men? Okay, we'll circle back to this. When women have an abortion, the men involved have fewer responsibilities. No baby means they escape a lifetime of child support. Not to mention the emotional responsibility of having a child. They also get to avoid having an invasive medical procedure. And that procedure has lasting effects on women. Sometimes those effects are medical, which is always a factor in any operation. It's not common, but women have died while having legal abortions. But you won't ever hear about that, just like you won't ever hear about women who regret having an abortion. I mean, it's almost funny that most all famous and rich men are upset by this ruling. Male actors and athletes have been posting messages aimed at women, regurgitating the tropes about the importance of choice and bodily autonomy. For example, the boxer Adrian Broner wrote on his Instagram page, "Without abortions, I would have about 30 kids." Is that something to be proud of, Adrian? I don't think so. Many Hollywood stars and elite sports figures could tell the same stories if they were honest enough to do so. But that's a job better left for James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. Okay, so fun story. I have a friend who is a women's studies major. What do they even do in women's studies? I mean, I know they talk a lot about bringing down the patriarchy, but all I see is them becoming the greatest proponents of patriarchal ideas and rejecting all things feminine. Doesn't that make them the biggest dupes of the patriarchy? Men even convince women to be abortion's most ardent and vocal proponents, partially by framing it as a right, but mostly by convincing women that we are in control of our bodies. Of course, duh, we are in control of our bodies, but they're talking about being in control of our own bodies after they have had their fun. So, framing the act of getting an abortion as being the ultimate expression of us being in control of our bodies is an idea pushed by a man who is trying to get out of his responsibilities. I believe that real body autonomy for a woman is demanding respect and exerting control over your baser desires and tendencies, and doing all this before there's even a chance of getting pregnant. So when my grandmother was in school, she took home economic classes. It was all women learning the skills that help women to be more nurturing, more caring, and more helpful. All things that are actual feminine traits, traits that men don't have a natural tendency for. Now you might be thinking of the exceptions. Sure, there are women who don't have those natural inclinations. And sure, there are men who do, but either way, these are predominantly feminine traits. So, remember that friend I was telling you about, the women's studies major? I asked her what is so empowering about casual sex, considering a lot of women get emotionally attached to the men they sleep with, or for the most part find casual sex unfulfilling. She said, it gives us the same rights and choices men have. That just made me think, who is even writing these women's studies books? I imagined a big group of drunk guys at a bar having a great time as they come up with these ludicrous ideas. So I asked her, but is that what you want though? Casual sex? And she said what any rational woman would say. No. And then irrationality kicked in. She said, but I'd want any woman who wants to do that to be able to do that. But guys, this is not the norm for what women want. In fact, I asked a guy friend the same question. Is casual sex unfulfilling? He said, I don't know. I haven't had enough of it yet to tell. The fact is, guys just want to get laid. And if a woman gets pregnant, then they want the option, if they're famous, to opt for cash, an NDA, and point her to the nearest abortion clinic. And if they're not famous, they just want to peer pressure her into going to get an abortion on her own, and they may or may not even pay for it. They might even throw in a, your body, your choice, and your responsibility for good measure. Moreover, men fear the daunting scenario in which they have to become a grown-up and put on their big boy pants and take on the huge responsibility of providing for a woman and her child, essentially providing for a family. They think that their lives will be over if that happens. And those type of men have even gotten women to do most all of the hard work in the solving of what they perceive as the problem. But really, it's women who have to deal with the repercussion. I mean, it's a woman who has to carry that burden because she will have felt that baby growing inside of her. And she will know. She will just know. She will carry that knowledge for the rest of her life. And it might get repressed, but the remorse and the regret will be there lurking in her mind. The what if of it remains. These rich, famous guys who've given women money, thinking this cash will cover all that baggage, are simply wrong. They want to remain irresponsible, and somehow women must help them remain irresponsible. It's women who make it easier for them to be irresponsible and to avoid consequences. And that's exactly what they want. How is this men showing respect to women? And how is this women having respect for themselves? I mean, is that the role us women want to play? Because I don't. Sadly, that seems to be the only role that modern feminism is offering us. I don't know which is worse, men who support abortion or feminist women who do. Okay, so what we're about to watch is a compilation of videos stitched to this girl who asks this question.
Are babies being burned and then used for electricity?
I hope they are.
Jesus, I'm so fucking tired of seeing this. You know what? I fucking hope so. I hope so.
I sure hope so.
I don't know, I hope so.
Oh god, I hope so. I can just imagine the fucking snowflakes with that one.
Oh no, I just eat mine straight from the can.
I don't think we should be asking, are they being burned and used for electricity? I think we should be asking, why aren't they being burned and used for electricity?
Reuse, recycle, and burn them.
Ooh, sustainable energy! I love the advocacy. We should try it, if we haven't. Portable charger.
Give me your feet!
I'm just speechless. Is this what society has come to? I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that abortion culture enables hookup culture. Without one, the other is unfeasible. I mean, ask Adrian Broner. Every debasing act eats away at one's morals. Swiping right further untethers everyone involved from morality. Without the niceties of the dating process, you're reducing it to a simple app and swiping. And that is the ultimate judging a book by its cover. And the decision to become intimate can't be taken so lightly. But I think this is a bigger subject that we'll explore in a future episode, so let's just leave that there. But in this scenario, there is a definite answer to the question, what is a woman? A woman is nothing. That's the message being sent by men, especially men who support abortion. And for that matter, the third wave feminists who peddle these lies about abortion that self-involved men who have everything to gain, by the way, have told them. Abortion is a right, my body, my choice. Simple slogans that brainwash and clear the path for men to strip women of their dignity and their power in a relationship. I mean, the really important choice or series of choices are the choices made that lead up to coitus. And all these come with unavoidable consequences that I believe are endemic to the act of reproduction. There are simple measures that can be employed to avoid disease transmissions. STDs are a minor possibility compared to the creation of a life. We all know that what men can contribute to a relationship is not what women can contribute. Responsible, self-respecting, moral women can bring out the best in a man. And it's a symbiotic relationship because moral men can do the same for women. The problem that we've been talking about is that the opposite is also true. Immoral women can clear the path for the worst in men to come out by eliminating their need to assume responsibility. This whole episode, it really may sound like I'm attacking or bashing men, but really I'm not. For the most part, men will do whatever we let men do. I'm attacking women who enable men to be the worst versions of themselves. If we don't demand respect, why should they give it to us? I am a firm believer that people will treat you how you allow them to treat you, as well as a lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. And please remember that you can't demand respect if you do not give it. Respect is a two-way street. When Matthew wrote, "So in everything do to others what you would have them do to you," in Matthew 7 verse 12, that was a rule for us to live by. I love people, and I just want y'all to be the best versions of yourselves that you possibly can be, because I know how devastating and heart-wrenching it is to feel like you haven't achieved your God-given potential. So, what is the upside of all of this? I hope that people will see the true purpose of dating with intention, of finding a person to grow old with, and the value of traditional dating. Finding a partner to spend the rest of your life with is an honorable goal, a goal which society and modern feminists are trying to shame out of you. You won't believe the number of times I have heard, "Ew, you want to throw away your best and most beautiful years to getting married young and having a family?" Or, "You'll miss out on experimenting with as many guys as possible." Or, "Just focus on your career. A man will magically show up along the way." Or the worst, and my favorite of these, "I don't need a man to be happy." I mean, if you think about it, if you are aiming at happiness, you will always be disappointed. The point is to have someone who is in a committed relationship with you, because there will be hard times, there will be bad times, and you will be able to get through them easier than you would alone. Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verses 9 through 12 back me up in this. Hopefully women may even wake up to the bad philosophy they have been sold and get back their self-respect and make men see their true value. Women may even rediscover their true femininity and embrace it. And when they do, men will also change their attitude. When disrespectful men don't get any attention from anyone, they will learn to be respectful. I think that would be the best option for everyone, especially for their future children, because their chances at life just got a whole lot better. Wow, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm looking forward to reading your comments and your questions. So please take a minute to subscribe and like the podcast and leave your 5-star review. It'll really help the show grow. Don't forget to follow on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok. Thank you beforehand. I'm Giulianna Omi, and this has been Dear Lovers. Until next time, Proverbs 31:25.